I usually ask people 3 or 4 questions, see what their true thoughts are.
I would shoot.
Would you be up for that?
Are you allowed to say on YouTube?
You can say exactly what you want. You can curse. You can do whatever you want, man. Just you say your thoughts. So I usually ask 4 questions. The first one would be, what are your thoughts on animals?
I think animals are beautiful creatures and should be respected as much as the so-called primal animal, man.
Okay, I almost agree with you. When you say primal, you mean we're more important than animals, or?
We're supposed to be the superior animal, the more intelligent animal.
I would agree with you. We're more intelligent. Whether we're superior or not would be up for debate. It depends what you're using as a basis of. I mean, we use intelligence because that's human bias, but we're not the best swimmers. We're not the best flyers. We're not the fastest. So
we're the masters, if you want to.
Well, we have put ourselves in that position.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, so, I get you. So, animal abuse or people who abuse animals. Your thoughts on that?
Well, as I said to you, anybody who abuses animals, for example, those who breed dogs for baiting and for fighting other dogs, it's not enough just to put them to prison. I would castrate them.
I would agree. People say many things. People say shoot them, hang them, throw them in prison, all sorts of stuff. I haven't heard castration before, but I don't disagree with you, to be honest. Third question I ask is, what would you qualify as abuse?
What would I qualify as?
As abuse.
Anything that's not in the animal's best interest.
Yeah. I would. My definition would be causing unnecessary harm to somebody.
Yeah.
If you're causing harm and it isn't necessary, then I would class that as abuse. So 4th question is a trickier one, and I'm not here to judge you or catch you out. I'm just asking questions. This is why I'm here. I used to pay for this too, by the way. What about the animals we take into slaughterhouses and we turn into food? We hang them upside down, we cut their throats, we shoot them in the head, we electrocute them, we put them in gas chambers. What do you think of all that?
Well, this is where the hypocrite in me comes out.
And I'm glad you used that word, not me, because that was me too. So anyway, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
Hypocrite comes out in me, and I follow a girl on Twitter called Angie Karen.
Okay.
And she puts up horrific photographs of animal abuse. And what I've noticed is recently, do you know how they counteract that? Whenever she posts a picture of animal abuse, a guy puts up an incident called The Terror of Nature, where he shows animals can be just as vicious as humans. For instance, last night I saw a white polar bear eating a seal alive, and you could see what they were trying to do, saying don't be criticising yourselves, animals do this. But they do that to survive.
And there you nailed it right on the head. So there's 2 arguments to that. Survival.
Yeah.
If we had to eat animals to survive, I wouldn't be standing here right now talking to you about this. They are obligate carnivores. Yeah. If they don't eat other animals, they're going to die. Their existence will cease. We don't have to. Yeah. I haven't eaten an animal product since I was 19. I'm not virtue signaling but I'm living proof that you don't have to.
Yeah.
You absolutely do not have to. I'm vegan. I'm a vegan and an animal rights activist. That's why I'm here today. And the second thing before you go on is moral agency. So yes, humans have a thing called moral agency, where as a moral agent I can look at a situation and decide, is that right or is it wrong? And make a decision based on that. Obligate carnivore animals are not doing that. They're eating literally for survival. So I can look at animals going into slaughterhouses, and for me, I've been there and watched it and seen it, and I think that's wrong. Do I need to do it? Well, the answer is no, I definitely don't. So that's where my moral agency comes in, and I say, right, okay, well, I'm going to abstain from that. I'm not going to pay for that anymore. What do you think of that?
Well, you certainly put a term I've never heard before, moral agency.
It's not my term, by the way. No, I'm not smart enough to come up with my own terms.
Well, it'll certainly be something I'll be speaking to my 2 sons about. But I'll go back to my own hypocrisy. I mean, I'm standing here supporting you in animal rights. I'm liable to go out with my 2 sons on Friday night and eat a steak.
I get it, but there's reasons for that. The reasons I did it is because I was brought up to believe it was needed or necessary, and it was normalised to me as a child. So even though I loved animals, probably like you, since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, up until I was 19, I was paying for all sorts of things to happen to animals, and I'm trying to reprogram people's minds that Like, say somebody was kicking a puppy or a wee kitten over here now, you'd think that was abuse, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Right, well, okay, well, what really is the difference between kicking a puppy and taking a calf into a slaughterhouse and putting a bolt gun on their head and hanging them upside down and cut their throat? Which one's worse? You know, it's not a competition about how bad something is.
I'm not judging you by your accent, but I assume it's up North Antrim direction. Am I wrong?
What do you mean?
Your accent?
I'm Ballymena.
Yeah.
Some people think I'm Scottish, believe it or not.
Friends of mine have a farm near Armoy.
Yeah.
You know Armoy?
I know exactly where it is.
That's right. And they have 1,300 sheep. And they became family friends of us who are city people. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm telling you this is that I stayed with them a couple of times, and I happened to espouse the view that the fox was a beautiful creature.
I agree.
And the farmer, a very good friend of mine, said, come out here and I'll show you something. And he brought me out to a stable where he brought out, we can only describe it as a modern day blunderbuss. Mm-hmm. And he said, using your accent, if I find Mr. Fox, as he called him, anywhere near my sheep, I'm putting that to Mr. Fox's head and I'm blowing his brains out. And I said, that's horrendous. And he says, I'll tell you what, I'll show you pictures what Mr. Fox does to my lambs.
Again, but he's a carnivore, and here's the thing about that. Farmers do that, say that all the time. Who's caused that problem in the first place by keeping thousands of sheep in captivity in a field so the sheep or the fox can come in? A carnivore will take advantage of any situation, so it'll not just eat for now. If it can get food for later, it'll get food for later too. So yes, foxes do that. To me, foxes are beautiful creatures, but in the wild, they wouldn't. You know, in nature, we wouldn't have animals in barns or hens in chicken coops or sheep in fields in their hundreds where a fox can come in. You know, they take advantage of the situation that they're in at the time. So the farmer actually caused that problem in the first place, and then he's trying to eradicate the fox for doing what comes naturally to them, you know.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course you can.
Do you think that the change that to make more people vegan or vegetarian would cost too much?
Cost too much.
Cost too much financially. There's too much of the meat industry. I don't know.
Well, they're powerful, man. Yeah. I think they're the richest industry in the world combined. Is the meat and dairy industries, believe it or not.
You know, so that's what you're up against.
Yeah. Well, here's the way I'll answer it to you. So, I can't make anybody do anything. First of all, I ask people to change. I think all these industries are led by supply and demand. Yeah. So people won't go vegan overnight. The whole world just goes vegan, and then we're like, oh shit, what do we do now? It'll be a gradual change. And farmers, this is why I don't particularly blame farmers, I blame the consumer, because farmers
only
produce what people demand. So as the industries decline and people go over to plant-based products, like a lot of the dairy industry is suffering now because so many people are buying plant-based milks instead. So as they decline, the farmers will transition to do something else. As I'm sure you have done in your lifetime, you've had more than one job in your lifetime, as I have. So we can all do something else. So it's not going to be an overnight change, but they're a gradual change and a gradual shift to plant-based products. I think it'll be led from the top, from government down, and I'm asking for individual change as well, where the government comes in as subsidies, because I don't know if you're aware of the damage that animal agriculture is doing to the environment. It's the number one damager by miles.
No, I wouldn't know that. See, that wouldn't be mainstream media, but would it?
No, well, it is evidentially true. There's a guy, Joseph Poor. He was an Oxford University professor, and he did a study over 4 years, I think, and he did 40,000 farms, from farm to fork, all the food products that we consume. And at the end of the study, they conclude, this was in the Science Journal, by the way, so it's a proper study. He concluded that the number one driver of ocean dead zones, eutrophication, which is water pollution, species extinction, habitat destruction, all these things, is animal agriculture. There's only 8 billion human beings. Do you know how many animals we kill every year for food? Land mammals, never mind fish. How many would you think? Would you have a guess?
See, I saw a programme one night about the chickens that are. It must be, I'm sure, if there's 8 billion humans, it must be about 25 billion.
80 billion land animals and 3 trillion fish. So all those animals need to be fed. So we're producing food. Okay, the cows and the sheep here are in the fields most of the year. In the winter time they're inside, so they either eat silage or corn, maize or soy. But loads of the animals in the world, and I mean the vast majority, are in dry lots. So we're cutting down the rainforests to grow soybeans and corn maize, and then we ship it all around the world to feed to animals. I think it's 16 kilograms of crops produce 1 kilogram of meat, so it's really, really poor return.
Can I ask you another
The science says that we can use 70% less land if everybody was plant-based and still grow enough crops to feed twice over. So the destruction is terrible, never mind what happens to the animals, which is diabolical too.
What type of response are you getting?
Really good, man. I do a wee YouTube channel, and I'm out here having warm here. I'm going to take a drink of water. I'm doing conversations with people all the time. I do school talks, and generally...
I was a school teacher, I retired in June.
Where are you? Whereabouts?
Primary school away in West Belfast. Near Lisbon.
I'm trying to think. The ones I've done up there...
God knows. Can I take this?
Of course you can, man. I've done schools up in West Belfast, and Genevieve's, I think, was one of the ones I've done.
I'm primary school.
Yeah.
But I retired in June, But yeah, that sort of talk, you'd go down well in primary schools.
Well, you see, I avoid the primary school ones because...
Do you think it's above their level?
No. I think I can talk to anybody of any age. I'm on the street. But the thing about when you go into school, it has to be done under the curriculum.
Yeah.
But with primary school children, I can't talk about... I'm not even allowed to say the word vegan. They have to bring it up. And then I'm talking to them about being nice to spiders and looking after birds and stuff, and it's a different I've never actually done it. I let some of the other ladies do it that work with small children, but I think I could do it.
Teacher, I was for that law school 26 years. I'm telling you, you'll go down well in the school. The kids, the younger you inform them these sort of things, the better.
I've done 4 schools recently. I did Royal School Dungannon. Where was it? Drumglass I was. St Genevieve's. I'm trying to think of the other one down in Portadown. It's a funny name, like Cluna. You ever heard of that? So yeah, I do okay, but most of my time is spent talking to people in the streets, conversations, and then I put it up on YouTube. I don't think people really think about this a lot. But man, I do other things as well. I've done saves and vigils at slaughterhouses and stuff, so I'm very well aware of what happens when they go there.
Sure, they love you.
I guarantee you have no idea of half the things that happen in the industries in this country. Like pigs, for example. I'll give you one example. Do you know what we do to them when they get to the slaughterhouse here?
What would it? Feed them and then slaughter them?
Yeah, but do you know how they are slaughtered? Yeah.
Is it electrocuted?
Not anymore. Gas chambers, man.
Gas chambers?
Gas chambers. So they tell us it's the most humane method. I'm trying to... I get upset when I talk about it because I've seen too much and it really upsets me. So, see pigs, man, super intelligent animals.
Yeah, that's what I heard, yeah.
Really, really intelligent. And when they arrive, they know, they can hear the screaming inside, so they know something, but they don't know they're going to be gassed or stabbed in the throat, but they know something bad's happening. Terrified. Forced inside, and then they go into a cage and a big gondola thing with cages in it. 3 or 4 in the cage at a time, and they're dropped down into carbon dioxide, which is a real cheap, shitty, aversive gas, so it burns them from the inside out and they suffocate. I have never heard animals scream the way they scream when they're suffocating. They're not dead when they come out because pigs have to bleed out. So they're made unconscious. About a minute and a half it takes for them to go unconscious. I've seen pigs pull their legs off, thrashing around trying to get out of that cage, like you would if you were being suffocated. And then when they roll out the bottom, a shackle round one leg, upside down, by which point most of them are coming conscious again because the gas is wearing off. And somebody will pull a knife across their throat and they, upside down, choking on their own blood, man.
How could you do that as a job?
Diabolical.
How could do that as a job? Somebody, and of course you'll say, someone who needs the money, that'll be there, lads.
Yeah, and I feel kind of, I mean, I'm sure there are some psychopaths working in slaughterhouses, but I've spoken to people at slaughterhouses and they're generally people from countries where they haven't got a lot of money and they're over here doing low paid labour, being taken advantage of themselves. I mean, how many people really want to work in a slaughterhouse, you know? How many people want to even go and look and see what happens in a slaughterhouse? But the thing is, the judgmental part of it, and it just has to be said, it's the consumers paying them to do it. Yeah. You know, so when you buy bacon or pork or ham, you're literally paying somebody to throw a pig in a gas chamber and stick a knife in their throat, and for me, I'm not cool with that. I'm just not cool with that at all.
Yes, I better head on. Sorry, mate. It's nice talking to you.
What's your name, man?
Paddy Murphy.
My name's Cliff. That's a good Irish name. That's like a joke Irish name.
Listen, I'll tell you a wee quick story. A friend was over in Glasgow with his wife, and he was in the Thistle Hotel, and he put his phone down to sign in, you know, And next thing up came my name, Paddy Murphy, and he said to his wife, Paddy Murphy's on the phone there, and the receptionist went, no way, no way. There's actually somebody called
I've
Paddy.
heard a few jokes when Paddy Murphy was walking.
They talk about racism. I've heard Paddy jokes, Murphy jokes, and Paddy Murphy jokes. I don't know.
You're the brunt of them all. Man, I'm going to give you a wee card before you go, Paddy. This is my YouTube down here.
I will look at it.
The one thing I'm going to ask you to watch here, see at the top, the best speech you will ever hear.
Yeah.
It's free to watch on YouTube. It's a guy called Gary Yourofsky. If you remember, it's like a Jewish name.
Kairovsky, yeah.
40 minutes long, man, literally the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It's a speech, it sounds boring, but I mean, you're a school teacher, you're an educated guy.
No, I'm on retired,
that speech is the most powerful, I can't even put it into words. It is literally the best speech you'll ever hear.
Listen,
I appreciate your time, man.
And I hope people listen to you.
Cheers, man. Have a good day.